morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Jenna. I'm a Built Environment Initiatives Coordinator with the Community Energy Association. This morning's webinar is focusing on the available rebates in BC for home energy upgrades in single-family homes. So I'm going to give a quick introduction, and then I'll pass things along to the speakers. We have multiple presentations today, so we're going to do our best to provide you with all of that great information in a succinct, short period of time. All right. Sorry, I'm not usually the one sharing my screen, so apologies for the hesitation. There we go. Okay, so I have the honor and pleasure of joining you from what is now known as Cristova. It's a small community outside of Nelson, and for thousands of years has been the traditional territories of the Sinixt Nation, the Silks Nation, and the Ktunaxa Nation. And I just like to start by expressing my deep respect and gratitude for the generations of stewardship. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn my notifications off here. For the generations of stewardship that allows us to enjoy these waters, rivers, mountains, forests in the way that we do. So we like to start off these webinars just highlighting some Indigenous leadership in the built environment space. So Nisga'a Nation is a self-governing First Nation on Canada's Pacific coast, primarily located in the Nass River Valley region of northwestern BC. So Nisga'a Nation is working towards the ambitious goal of renovating 900 residential properties, aiming to update every Nisga'a member's home on Nisga'a land. To achieve this, the nation is building capacity within its government and community by providing training for government staff, nation members, and building trades workers. So in support of this major retrofit initiative, the Northwest Energy Retrofit Forum was held on June 3rd to 5th of this past year. It was a partnership between the Community Energy Association and the Canadian Home Builders Association of Northern BC. Over 3 intensive days, attendees learned from BC's leading building science experts, looking at the issues affecting real houses in Lac Elzep Village and getting hands-on training and full-day workshops in Terrace. So if you're interested in learning more about that workshop and that forum and everything that was achieved, there's a link there that'll take you directly to a short video on our YouTube channel. I'll be sharing these slides out with you all, so you'll be able to have a look then. All right, a quick introduction to CEA if this is your first time joining us. So the Community Energy Association, we are a nonprofit and charity focused exclusively on supporting local government and Indigenous communities on climate and energy activities. So proud to say that we are the only nonprofit that's focused exclusively on supporting local government and Indigenous communities with these activities. So what does that have to do with building better? Well, CEA's work, we recognize that the built environment is a main source of community-based greenhouse gas emission, and that by focusing efforts on this sector, we not only have the opportunity to make some significant greenhouse gas emission reduction, but we also get to contribute to enhanced community resilience, energy security, and increasing the comfort, health, and safety of our homes. So CEA, we've been involved in building industry capacity for many years across BC, and this Kootenay Clean Energy Transition, or KSET, is just one example of that project. So KSET was developed by CEA to address shifts happening in the energy efficiency, renewable energy, and home comfort space. So through KSET, we want to help Kootenay and boundary communities prepare for a more energy efficient and healthy future through training and capacity building sessions and community workshops that focus on high performance building. So thanks to the generous support of all the organizations listed on the slide, we're able to offer webinars like this one this morning. And then if you're interested to see what else we have coming up, our full list of webinars and workshops is on our events page there at communityenergy.ca/events. Assuming that most folks on the call here are working in the retrofit space, I just wanted to highlight these programs that are available to support community members and homeowners, contractors through the retrofit journey. So Retrofit Assist is a program facilitated by CEA and offered in East Kootenay, Roslyn, Whistler, Squamish, and Kamloops. The Regional Energy Efficiency Program, or REEP, is offered in Central Kootenay, and RDKB Home Smart is offered in the Regional District of Kootenay boundary, except for the city of Roslyn, because that's covered by Retrofit Assist. So if you have clients who have questions about the various rebate programs that we're introducing today, or the retrofit process, make sure that they're aware of these programs that can better support them. We'll provide some links to in the chat for you to check this out. Not going to spend too much time here. I think folks on the call today, the other speakers will introduce this network, but just wanting to have a quick slide on the Home Performance Contractor Network so that you're all aware, if you aren't already, that this is the network for you to join if your clients are wanting to access provincial and utility rebates for heat pump installs, insulation upgrades, and window and doors. All right, so that's it from me. I'm just going to introduce quickly kind of the format for today's webinar. So we have many speakers from province of BC, BC Hydro and FortisBC. They're each going to give a short presentation, and then we'll have time after each presentation, or sorry, after each set of speakers for your questions. So go ahead if you have questions as we're going through the presentations to pop them in the chat. I'll keep track of those questions and then ask the speakers directly on your behalf. Recognizing that we don't have the longest time to get through a huge amount of information, we will be keeping track of the questions that we didn't have a chance to answer, and we'll do our best to follow up with everyone on the call, kind of providing some of those responses. All right, so that's it for me. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. It's Grant Mooney. The province of BC is here.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jenna. And for the introduction, my name is Grant Mooney. I'm with the Ministry of Energy and Climate Solutions. Sorry, we just had a ministry name change with the last election. I'm going to be speaking today about the Energy Savings Program and a little bit about our Better Homes and Home Renovation Rebate Program, which is our non-income qualified program. The Energy Savings Program is an income qualified program. I'd like to acknowledge the shared, unceded, and traditional territories of the Lekwungen peoples and the Coast Salish peoples on whose territory I work, play, and learn. I thank the peoples who continue to live on these lands and care for them, along with the waters and all that is above and below. So thank you. Moving ahead, there we go. Okay, so the CleanBC Better Homes Energy Savings Program provides energy saving rebates covering up to 100% of project costs to help make energy saving upgrades more affordable. It is an income qualified program, which applicants must qualify for rebates that cover upgrades such as heat pumps to specific amounts. Those rebates will be defined by the type of heating that they have before their upgrade. For heat pump rebates, they are high value. There's rebates up to $16,000, and those living in the northern region, that is at or above 100-mile house. So we may not have anybody here in this meeting in that region. There is an additional $3,000 top up. This complements the existing energy efficiency rebate programs in British Columbia and is a complete replacement of the income qualified program. So the income qualified program was our past income qualified program that we offered. We've transitioned to the energy savings program. It is developed and funded by the province of BC, the government of Canada, and BC Hydro, and it is administered in partnership with Clear Result Canada. You can see below there is the main website for the program. Some key things to note here and the changes from the income qualified program to the energy savings program. So this program can offer rebates that cover up to 100% of the cost of a heat pump. That is, of course, as long as the rebate covers the whole value. If you are only getting funded for $16,000 and the heat pump's $19,000, there is a payment that is due by the homeowner. Those rebates for heat pumps have increased. So you see the $16,000 being the max, and I'll give the variety of dollars, but it's best to go to the website to learn this. And it is varied, as I mentioned, by how the home was heated prior to the upgrade. So electric, wood, oil, natural gas are all of the options that you're eligible for. The new program has also expanded and included a kind of a missing middle tier for income level 3. The one requirement there is that it's not available for all rebates. So income level 3 is available for fuel switching, and there are lower value rebates, but there aren't rebates for electric to heat pump conversions. And we also discussed the $3,000 top up for those living in the north. And there's an increased rebate for electric service upgrades from $3,500 up to $5,000, up from $35,000, and it's varied on the income level. So it's important to look at the opportunities report to understand what the homeowner is eligible for. There are still heat pump water heater rebates, insulation and window rebates, and ventilation and health and safety rebates as well. However, the changes to this program are in the heat pumps and electric service upgrades. So those rebates stayed at $9,500. So the goals of the program are to improve energy affordability, and this will enable income qualified households facing financial hardship to access rebates and achieve higher efficiencies, increase market awareness and enrich residents' knowledge of energy efficiency and fuel switching opportunities, and of course to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The entry into the program, so it's quite similar to our general Better Homes and Home Renovation Rebate program, that customers must have a utility account, be connected to either BC Hydro or FortisBC Electric residential customer, or participating municipalities such as Penticton. Primary heating, to be eligible in this program, we've really covered them all: electricity, natural gas, oil, wood, or propane, and the rebates will vary depending on how they did heat before the upgrade. The home must be 1 year old and have a utility account. That doesn't mean that if somebody moves into a 10-year-old home and they've only lived there for a week, they can register for the program and apply. It's based on the age of the home, not how long the homeowners lived there for. And the participants must meet the program income thresholds. This is a key part of this program. Obviously, it's an income qualified program, so those thresholds must be met. Income level 1 and 2 does have a property value requirement of 1.23 million. So if your home is valued over the property value of the property is over 1.23 million, you're not going to be eligible for this program. But the new energy savings program has a caveat that if you meet the threshold of 1 or 2, have a home that's valued over 1.23, you automatically fall into income level 3. So there are still rebates available for you, just a slightly lower amount. And that does also mean that those who fall into the income level 3 category don't have to meet the 1.23 million property value. Eligible homes in this program are similar to our general program as well, where it must be a single family detached dwelling, a mobile home on a permanent foundation, a row townhouse. So really what we're talking about is side-by-side townhomes there, or a single family detached dwelling with a secondary suite. That suite should have its own utility account, and if it isn't, then it needs to be included in the main whole aspect of the home. There are some caveats there, and if you have questions about certain suites and upgrades in those, we do recommend you reach out to the program. And the mobile homes on permanent foundations, a lot of people are unsure about what that means, but it's really just needs to be on a really any type of foundation. We're not talking a full poured basement foundation. It could be slab, it could be post piling in a variety of different ways. So if there's questions about that, reach out to the programs as well. Here you see the income levels to enter the program. It's important to understand that these are the incomes of all adults 18 years or older in the home, but the number of people living on the home on the left includes children. So really what we're doing here is we're trying to help those who have larger families, or maybe single parents with a few children, able to access this. So children under 18, we obviously don't have to include their income there, but and then it helps them achieve those kind of dollar amounts. So when they apply, you'll give your income documentation. We then look at how many people are living in the home, and you'll get a code that is associated with that income level. So participants must register using a participant portal. So the web page that we have pushes people through a participant portal. We gather a lot of information about the homeowner, personal information. So this must be done by the participant. You, the contractor, cannot do this for them. You can help them though. Like, we understand some people don't have computers always, but they need to be there and they need to be aware of what information is being entered into that. And then, of course, there is also income documentation that has to be uploaded. So their notice of assessment from CRA does need to be supplied. And it's important that they're the ones accessing that. If they don't have a digital copy and they're not able to submit that, we do have a mail-in option for them where we will mail them an email, the information, the form that needs to be signed, and they can mail back their NOA. And it is all documented and then sent back to them. So it's a real simple process for those who don't have access to a computer. We also require, we already mentioned that, income documents. If they meet the requirements, the participant is supplied an opportunities report and an eligibility code specific to their application. The opportunities report really identifies all eligible upgrades the participant is approved for. The contractor, the contractor, must review this. This is specific, and we don't want to make sure that you understand that just because they have an eligibility code, it doesn't mean that they're eligible for every upgrade at the highest amount. You need to read that because that'll give the dollar amount that they're eligible for per upgrade. And for heat pumps, that does vary. So if they're oil heated, they can get up to $16,000. If they're in income level 3 though, and they're electrically heated, it'll be a different amount. So be sure to put eyeballs on that, and we're doing our best to make sure that is clear to those learning about this. And then, of course, the user must have an eligibility code. We're actually now putting the eligibility code in the opportunities report to make sure people are opening that report and understanding what they're eligible for. This journey here kind of shows what it is like for you, the participant, for the participant and you, the contractor. So they, maybe learn about the program from the CA or one of the organizations in the Kootenays, or possibly they heard about it from you. They register with the program, they receive their eligibility verification, and at that point, they're pointed to a list of eligible contractors in their region who are registered for the program. They then reach out to you directly. We aren't involved in this point where they reach out to you to get quotes. You quote them based on their eligibility code and their opportunities report. So if you will see what they're eligible for off that code, off that opportunities report. You quote them based on that. You show them what the province will cover and what will be left over for them as far as the upgrade. If they choose to go with you, you then complete the upgrade. And then the contractor submits the application or the invoice to the program. So you would gather any funds from them that is owed from the homeowner, but then the remaining amount is submitted to the program as long as everything is done properly. And our biggest issues are proper invoicing. So make sure your invoice is set up as per the requirements. You are approved and paid your rebate within 10 days. It's a fairly quick process as long as everything is done properly. We do strongly suggest that you watch the training webinars, learn about what is required, look at the sample invoices, because when you submit an invoice that isn't correct, we have to reach out to you, get it updated, it comes back to us, and it really slows that payment process down. We want to make sure we can get you that money as quickly as possible. Few changes about heat pumps. So in the income qualified program, we did see, just checking time here, we got to get moving. I'm going to skip over a lot of the heat pump requirements to save time. I will say that we do have more requirements that ensure that homes are heated fully. So if a furnace is being removed, we ask that the ductwork is used. The whole reason here is because we had too many situations in the income qualified program where furnaces were being removed, a single head mini split was being put in, and the homeowner was being told to keep the doors open in the bedrooms and the bathroom and they'll keep warm. We found that that's not what is happening. Homeowners end up having to put in space heaters in those back bedrooms, which is not the intent of the program. So we have more fulsome requirements to make sure the whole home is heated by the heat pump and heating is provided to all areas in the home. So we have processes through the program to go through that, and just be aware that you may be pushed back if you try and install an undersized mini heat pump in a home. The details of the program here are all the same. I'm really just going to talk about the oil. If there's an oil heated home, you must require 500 liters annually of the oil use in the home. This is an Enercan requirement, and we do have this in place for all oil to heat pump upgrades. Here is, and this isn't something that I'm going to go through as well. I'm going to share this slide deck with Jenna to share with everybody, but you can see the varied rebates, and they vary based on the type of heat pump going in and how the home was heated before the upgrade. So be aware, this is why you need to look at that opportunities report, because if you're a natural gas heated home and they're in income level 3, it's going to be different than what it is for income level 2. So be aware that these are the highest amounts. These are like the income level 1 numbers we're seeing in here. They will trickle down based on that. So I'm not gonna go into detail about this because there's a lot of information, but we will share this, and it's best to go to the website and read that opportunity report to really learn what the homeowner is eligible for. There are also installation window doors rebates. So those general contractors here in the call, up to $5,500 for installation, regardless of how the home is heating, and windows and doors up to $9,500, $950 per window, if I recall, regardless of how the home is heated. There is a ventilation upgrade too, which is for a bathroom fan or HRV. Be aware that there's a qualified product list, and that health and safety upgrade is for if asbestos or mold is found in the home, we will allow the asbestos to be removed. And it is also for, I think, pest and rodent tunneling and installation. So really to deal with that before the upgrade is achieved. So just to be aware, if you find that, if you're dealing with that, there is an additional rebate that you can register for. You have to be registered to be able to deliver that though. So be aware that if you're an installation contractor, you can't just add that health and safety on without contacting the program, becoming registered as a health and safety contractor. There are best practices that we follow with the Home Performance Stakeholder Council for all upgrades. I'm not going to get into this too much. You will be required to become an HPCN member. So just be aware that we do have standards and guidelines for all upgrade types. And then the biggest thing here that I want to talk about is pre-registration in the energy savings program by the participant is required. Our general program, you do not. You complete an upgrade, you give the homeowner an invoice, they apply. This one, the homeowner needs to pre-register. You cannot complete upgrades until they have that eligibility code. If you do, they will be denied. You will be given a written warning, and it really puts everybody in a bad situation. Make sure they're registered for the program before you complete that upgrade. And then I need to talk about stackability. If you participate in the Better Homes and Home Renovation Rebate Program, you cannot then apply and participate in the Energy Savings Program for the same upgrade, and vice versa. Excuse me. I believe most of the time you're going to be going for the Energy Savings Program, but we have had an issue where people think they're eligible for both, and we just want to make sure that you know only eligible for one program. The first one you apply for, you will be denied for the next. Contractor requirements. I'm going to move a little quick here because I know we're short on time and I want some questions, but you do need to become a HPCN contractor, and then you become an energy savings program contractor. You need to register with the HPCN, become listed with them, and then you can come into the energy savings program. You are required to meet and align with all contractor terms and conditions in both our program and the HPCN. So we do, follow and require that things are being done properly, even as far as like using the program logos properly. So be in tune and in touch with what you're required to do before completing upgrades in these programs. You are listed on our website. So when you become an HPCN or an energy savings program contractor, you're listed on our website to be found by the participants. And as I discussed before, invoice requirements, and very important you meet the program requirements. If you don't, it's going to slow down your applications and our payments that we send out to you, because we're left chasing you down to get these details from you, and we want to pay you quickly. So be aware there are samples on our website, and please visit the website to see those samples. And I'd be remiss to talk about the rebates that are eligible in the non-income qualified program still. So there are rebates available in that program. They're obviously less than what we have in the energy savings program. Those are the enhanced rebates, but these do still remain at the time. So please visit our website to learn about more. Sorry, I had to rush through that a little bit, but this is the contact for both our energy coaches. So energy coaches are here to answer questions about all of the rebate programs in the province. They can help you choose which program to go to. They're available Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And also the energy savings program itself has contacts for both the contractor and the participant with questions about onboarding to the program. I'm going to pass it back to you, Jenna, for any questions we have.
Thanks, Grant. I appreciate that. I know it's a lot of information to get in a short period of time there. So I believe we have more questions in the chat than we have time to answer. So folks, we'll do our best to, I'll do my best to respond to your questions in the follow-up email. But Meredith asks if there will be any changes to the contractor application process to allow general contractors to submit applications for items they are not HBCN registered for, but for which they subcontract HBCN registered subtrades.
So the HBCN is actually launching a general contractor sector,
Stream?
I think.
Yeah.
Sector on April 1st. General contractors will fall into that. And then once you're on board with that, we'll really learn at what you're doing. So you're completing installation, you're completing windows and doors, or you subcontract those. Regardless, we really need to know that you are registered, because it's more than just the upgrade. It's also the code of conduct and how you manage participants and ensuring that you meet our requirements beyond that, have business licenses, insurance, and whatnot. And then the subcontracting companies also need to be registered with the program. So although you may be managing it all as a general contractor, your subs do need to be registered with the program. So your installation and windows contractors should be registered as well, and they would both all be listed on the website. It's fine to have that scenario set up, and we are aware of that now, but we do require both the general and the sub to be registered for the program.
So as of April 1st, general contractors have to go through that retrofit stream.
Correct. And right now,
Okay.
general contractors can register with the HPCN for installation of Windows upgrades. Those are the two that they'd fall into, unless they're doing mechanical as well, but they could become a heat pump contractor too. And there are contractors currently in our programs that are generals doing those upgrades.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just going back to the ductwork requirements, you were saying to use the existing ductwork for replacing the furnace.
Yep.
Is the replacement of ductwork covered in the instance where existing ductwork is not sufficient or adequate for the new heat pump system?
Yeah, no, the rebate is a wholesome rebate. So any upgrades that are required in the home or the homeowner wants would have to be included in that dollar amount. If the ventilation is in such poor shape that it cannot be used, the homeowner can get an exception to put in, or sorry, not the homeowner, the contractor can get an exception to put in like a multi-split system, or maybe a ducted mini split where there's different heat pump types going into the home. We just do a review of where those heads are going to be placed, making sure that there's heat in areas like bathrooms, and there'll just be high level questions that we have about that conversion. So we want to see proof that ductwork is in poor quality, and then we will give an exception based on what is going to be promoted as far as install. So, making sure heat is getting to all those areas of the home, and homeowners aren't being asked to just leave doors open. I think we're kind of pushing towards more like ducted mini splits as an alternative in an attic space or a crawl space. If they can't get into the crawl space, then maybe it means a baseboard has to be put into a bathroom.
Okay, great. Thank you. And sorry, folks, I know we have many more questions for Grant in the chat, but it is time to pass things over to Ashley Kelsey with BC Hydro. We're going to see Ashley a couple times today, but she's going to start with an introduction to the home renovation rebate program offered through BC Hydro.
Excellent. Okay, everybody see my screen there okay?
Yep, we can.
Perfect. Excellent. Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley. I'm a project manager here at BC Hydro, so I support a lot of the product managers for many of our residential rebate programs, like the home renovation rebate, which I'm speaking about today, the solar battery rebate, self-generation, so on, so on. I've been here for about 6 years now, but this is my first year in rebates, so still fresh to it. I have 2 different presentations, like Jenna mentioned earlier, prepared for you today, one for solar battery, one for home renovations. I know on the agenda it says my coworker Luis will be speaking on this part, so there's a last minute conflict, so I'll be Luis 2.0 today. And I also know we're on a timer and I have a tendency to talk a bit too much while I'm presenting, so I might talk a little bit fast. I hope that's okay with everybody. Excellent. Okay, so I have the agenda here today. So jumping right into things, we have the home renovation rebate, which encompasses about 4 different rebate categories. And that's windows and doors, insulation, heat pumps, and heat pump water heaters. So yeah, let's get right into it. These are the eligibility requirements that kind of encompass the entire program. So these are the big 3, I like to call them. So first, to be eligible, your home must be primarily heated by electricity. So whether that's baseboard heaters, electric furnace, you name it. You also must have a BC Hydro account, just so we can kind of link the rebates there. And then your home must be an eligible type, and that includes single family homes with like a detached secondary suite, mobile homes, but there are some extra requirements on those ones, side-by-sides, stacked duplexes, row homes, townhomes, and then we just recently added multiplex residential units, but there's a lot of extra requirements for those ones as well. So I would definitely check our terms and conditions online just to make sure the building you're installing in is completely eligible. Excellent. So to ensure that the installs are done up to quality and done well there, we do require that all upgrades must be installed by a licensed contractor. So that means having a GST number and a valid BC license, which I'm assuming most of those in this chat have. And it must be applicable to the trade being installed or upgraded. So this means self-installations are not eligible, which means we rely on a lot of contractors here to do the work. And then when it comes to heat pumps and installation, so 2 of the categories out of the 4, it must be installed by a home performance contractor network, so the HPCN. If you're not already a part of that network, I would definitely recommend going to their website, and I think there's a link saying get involved, and you can learn more about signing up. And then when it comes to installing the products, it is super important to note that the products must be A, new, B, in good working order, and then must also not been previously installed in another home. So you can't take a heat pump out of one home and put it in the other home. And then rebates can also not exceed the cost of the invoice and the paid cost of the upgrade. Excellent. So moving on to one of our bigger rebates here. So this is the heat pump rebate options for electrically heated customers. So again, if you're replacing a hardwired electric system, such as the baseboard, radiant ceiling, radiant floors, electric furnace. Also that electrically heat must also be the primary heating. So that means it had the capacity to heat a minimum of 50% of the home during the entire heating system, up to about 21 degrees. And then when you're installing the heat pump, you can either install a ductless mini or multi-split heat pump, and that will get you about $1,000 rebate. Whereas if you install the central ducted heat pump, that will get you $2,000. So a bit of a bigger rebate for that one. Some key points here when it comes to this rebate offer is that the indoor unit of the heat pump, or like otherwise known as the head, must be in a main living area. So when we talk about main living areas, it's mainly like the family rooms, the living rooms, or even an open concept kitchen living room, as that's becoming very popular these days. And then another part here, we do have a qualified product list on our website, so feel free to check that out. I'll show you all the products that are eligible for the rebates and which ones. There are some factors here I won't get into for the HSPF and the SEERS. But yeah, and then we also have a handy guide called the Heat Pump Best Practices Installation Guide for Existing Homes. It has a lot of good points there to kind of just make sure everything's being installed up to the best quality. So that's on our website there. You can definitely check that out for more information. Perfect. Windows and doors. So we just have the one rebate here. It kind of covers all, like both windows and doors if it has a U factor of 1.2 or less. So those tier 2 windows and doors. This is about $100 per product, max 2,000. So you can do the math there to see how many are able to be eligible part of the program. And then the one catch with this is, unfortunately, homes in the city of Vancouver are not eligible for the window and door rebates. So I just keep that in mind when Vancouver residents are reaching out. Excellent. Okay, and then installation rebates, we have a ton of different options because there's many different places you can put installation. So we do have the attic installation, basement, exterior wall cavity, exterior wall sheathing, and then other types of insulation just to make sure it's all encompassing. You can use either bat, loose fill, board, spray foam, or any of those types as eligible insulation. And then the rebates are calculated based on the R value. So you can see right next to the type of upgrade, it'll show the cents, like the amount. So 0.9 cents, for example, for basement, and then it's times the R value added times square feet. So I keep that note when you're giving customers estimates on the rebates. If you're looking into doing that, of course, when they submit their application, we'll do that too. In some cases where pre-existing installation was removed, so like if there's like a mold problem or a pest problem before, the rebate is calculated on the difference in R value between the new and the pre-existing installation. So it's a heads up on that. And then our last rebate here, how am I doing for time? I think I got a little bit of time here. And then the last rebate here is for the heat pump water heater. And this is just easy $1,000. And then it must be on the listed as a tier 2 and on the NEEA's advanced water heater specification qualified product list. And be listed under an eligible, oh, I think that's the wrong slide there, so ignore that one. But yeah, that's the rebates for the home renovation rebate program. But we do have a bonus here for customers that are doing kind of the whole home approach. For example, if customers are really taking care of their building envelope and installing the windows and doors and insulation beforehand, before they go and install a heat pump, they could be eligible for either 2 upgrade bonus or the home energy improvement bonus. So those are totally available and kind of makes it worth their while. They can be done within, they don't have to be done at the exact same time, but within a certain amount of months of each other too. So if they install installation 1 month and a couple months later they do the heat pump, it'll still give you them the option to do the bonus. And then just to wrap this up here, some frequently asked questions. I know Grant just went over this as well, but I just want to reiterate it as it's super important. Customers are sadly not able to apply for both CleanBC Energy Savings Program and the Better Homes or Home Renovation Rebate Program. So the rebates cannot be stacked. And then customers that have an existing heat pump cannot apply for the Home Renovation Heat Pump Rebate Program. Just comes down to energy savings. We don't see as much energy savings from the replacement of older model or less efficient model as we do as replacing the hardwired electric systems like baseboards. So that's really the big reason. And then some additional resources here. You feel free to check out our website at bchydro.com/homeRenoRebates for some more information on the different types of rebates. The eligibility criteria and the terms and conditions are very useful in the program requirements. And then we also do have a page dedicated for contractors. It's called the Resources for Contractors page. You'll see it on the kind of right side tab. And I have a lot of useful documents there, like a rebate guide that kind of outlines all the rebates within the BC. So it makes it a little bit easier navigating all the different rebate programs, as well as some best practice guides. So that's kind of all I have here today. I think I did a little better on time. How's that, Jenna?
Perfect. Yeah, right on time. So folks, we are presenting, we'll hear from Blake Bierman and then back to Ashley to get a fulsome picture of BC Hydro's rebate programs, and then we'll open the floor for some questions. So Blake, we'll pass things along to you to perfect. Okay,
right on.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Excellent. So hey everybody, I'm Blake Bierman. I manage a portfolio of programs to support customers who choose EVs here at BC Hydro. I've been with Hydro for about 10 years in an engineering capacity, and now I'm in a program management capacity for the last 5 or 6 months. So let's see, it doesn't want to go to the next slide. There we go. So I just wanted to start off by acknowledging I'm in a different place than you, Jenna. I'm in Vancouver, which is located on the unceded traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And just to start with a bit of an overview, and then I'll dive into the details of the program. So BC Hydro's role with EVs is fairly wide-reaching, kind of starting all the way from our base role, as it's been for a very long time, of providing electricity to the province and maintaining and upgrading our grid to meet energy needs, and going all the way down to the details of the programs I'll talk about today, which is supporting customers who choose electric vehicles. Really slow on getting to the next slides here. Sorry about that. Are we there? Yes. All right, so programs to support our customers. Getting one level down from that high level include we administered the CleanBC EV Home and Workplace Charger Program within our service area. FortisBC similarly administers it in their service area. We also provide top-ups for connected chargers and power management devices. Outside of those programs, we have rates for EV fleets. We have programs for EV fleets, and we have a time of day rate. And these are all things that can help customers to transitioning to electric vehicles. So within the charger rebate program, so we're going one level down again into that charger rebate program. As I mentioned, that's a program funded by the province. It's administered by BC Hydro in our service area, FortisBC in their service area, and then CleanBC also provides support for it. So if you're talking to a multi-unit residential customer by some chance, then, sorry, my recovery, I broke a lot of bones, and that's reminds me to get up and stretch. That plugin BC will help you kind of navigate those multi-unit residential ones. And then there's also top-ups funded by BC Hydro as well as municipalities. So one level down again. If the slide's going to change, there we go. Within that CleanBC Home and Workplace Charger Program, there's avenues for single-family homes that we'll talk about today. But I just want to make sure you're aware in case you have other customers coming to you. There's also avenues for multi-unit residential buildings as well as workplaces who are looking to provide charging infrastructure to their employees. So diving into the main topic of today, the single-family home offer. So the base offer from CleanBC is a rebate of up to 50%, or of 50% to a maximum of $350. So that's for the installation and purchase of a level 2 electric vehicle charger. That rebate can be made higher depending on the municipality if it's offering top-ups, depending on either the charger model or if you're using a power management device through BC Hydro incentives, as well as if you're in an Indigenous community. A bit of details for increasing those rebates. You can scan that QR code. That'll take you to a page that provides all the details for these top-ups. There's a lot of information out there. So in 10 minutes, I can't go through it all today, but I'll give you an overview. So peak saver eligible EV chargers. So these are specific smart chargers that have been tested and integrated with our demand response system. So just like, you know, if you've seen the MyStep thermostat ads, this would be something that receives a signal from us to delay charging by, you know, a couple of hours. Those can get an additional $250, still capped at that 50% of costs. So now instead of $350, you know, add $250 to that, so you're up to $600. There's also power management device offer. So especially if there's a electrical capacity restriction in the house, you might use a power management device, and that unlocks another $200 of rebate. That no longer has a 50% cap. On the $200 portion, it's 100% cap. So that is basically always a $200 flat rebate. The municipalities vary by region. You can see a little screenshot there. There's a few of them and they are changing over time. So please refer to the QR code on our website for that. And then Indigenous communities, it's 75% instead of 50% to a maximum of $750 instead of $350 for that base portion of the rebate. And top-ups generally remain the same. In terms of eligibility for the installation, sorry, actually, I'm realizing I added this slide for the contractor portion, and I think that QR code still goes to the top-up. So the eligibility QR code is coming a bit later. So the details of this kind of requirement are all kind of buried in that website, but here's the main ones that you're going to see challenges with. So new homes are excluded. So right now that's defined as any home less than 6 months old. So the point of this program is to support kind of retrofitting an old home. So if it's a new home, that is excluded from being eligible. It also needs to be installed by a qualified electrical contractor unless there's an existing 240 volt plug available for them. And there needs to be an electrical permit for that. It needs to be wall mounted at the electrical service address. So it can't just be a plug with, a portable charger that they plug into it. And you can actually, this QR code is correct. You can scan that QR code for the complete details. For chargers, some of the key requirements is they're purchased new, they're approved for sale and use in Canada, and they're a level 2 charger with an acceptable head. Generally, that's the SAE head, the J1772. I have given some exceptions for the NACS head. And they need to be either plugged in or hardwired, so you have flexibility. We have this database, it's the same QR code. You'll find this from the last slide, and you can search to see that it's already on that database. If it's not and it meets the requirements, that manufacturer can kind of apply to be added to the list.
Hey, Blake, sorry to interrupt, just giving you a bit of a 1 minute flag here so we can pass things over to Ashley.
Wow, that was fast. All right, so to get your rebate, well, for your customer to get the rebate, for the single family home only, they don't need to pre-apply. If they're a MERB or a workplace, they will need to pre-apply. So they're just going to confirm the rebate details on our website, as we are often updating them and making sure they match the program kind of desires, program intent, and the customer needs. They're going to purchase and install that qualifying charger, maybe a power management device too, gather the documentation, go back to slide 9 for that QR code, and then the customer applies, not you, within 90 days of installation. That's really important. And then we usually will get that rebate processed in about 70 to 80 days, but it's within 90 is what our service standard is. These slides will be available for your reference. If you're just hearing about power management devices, they offer a lot of flexibility for your customers. So you can scan that QR code once you get there. EV charging does have an impact on the bill, but customers do have an option. The time or day rate typically can save EV drivers who can charge overnight a lot of money. It's kind of like always going to the gas station when it's cheap, but you don't actually have to go to out of your way to get to that gas station with a 5 cent per kilowatt hour discount overnight. The programs are always changing, so please take a look at the website for complete details, as well as to see if there's been some changes. And here are the QR codes that I'll leave up. The one on the left will get you to kind of the core program page where you can find all of the other pages that I had QR codes for. And the one on the right will launch an email to our team in case you have any questions. That's it.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. And folks, there are a couple questions in the chat for Blake, but once Ashley concludes her presentation here on solar PV, we'll open the floor to those questions.
Excellent. Okay, I'll try to run through this quick because I think we're a little bit over time, but I'm back for round 2, so I hope everyone's not bored of me yet. But I'll go into the solar and battery rebates here now. So today's agenda. Excellent. So back in July 2024, we announced our new solar and rebate offer for mainly residential customers, but then we opened it up the offer to other sectors such as the business sector and like multifamily building sector. But today I'll focus on the residential customers, and they can receive up to $5,000 for installing an eligible grid-connected solar panel system. This rebate is calculated at about $1,000 per kilowatt of installed generator capacity and covers up to 50% of the total install cost, and that includes both labor and materials. Additionally, there is an opportunity they can also get up to $5,000 for a battery energy storage system. And this rebate is calculated based on $500 per kilowatt hour of installed storage capacity. And same thing as solar, it's 50% of the total installed costs. So customers installing both solar and battery energy storage systems can get up to $10,000. So quite a nice rebate there. However, there are a few additional requirements which can be found at our website at bchydro.com/rebates, and I definitely recommend taking a look at our terms and conditions for a lot of the key details. But of these requirements, the big ones are first having a BC Hydro account on an eligible residential rate and a smart meter so we can monitor the energy going back and forth. You can also check your rate on your latest BC Hydro bill underneath your electricity charges. You'll see your rate there, and then you can check in the terms and conditions and make sure it's an eligible rate, which I'm assuming for residential, there's a good chance it is. And this offer is open to many different home types. So the classic single family home, duplexes, triplexes, townhomes, mobile homes, though there is some extra requirements with the mobile homes, same thing as the home renovation rebate. And then if you live in an apartment building, you wouldn't qualify for the residential home rebate, but there is a multifamily building offer with some extra requirements there. So I definitely would check out if the building qualifies for that one on our website. Most importantly, though, to qualify for the rebate, you must participate in the self-generation program, or otherwise known as the net metering program. This is kind of automatically done. So once you apply for the self-generation on rebate application form, so it's kind of like a 2-for-1 application. And then once the application is approved by our self-generation team, our rebate team gets involved and they will pay the rebate out to the property owner. So key benefits here, I won't go into too much details in terms of time, but the big ones that stand out are bill reduction, being able to generate your own energy. Having that power during like a power outage is huge, especially if you have the battery energy storage system. And then just being more resilient and self-sufficient is huge. You don't have to rely on the grid as much. So those are the 3 ones that really motivate homeowners these days. Excellent. So at this moment in time, we do not have like a required network contractor or a required network for contractors similar to the home renovation rebates. But once again, just to make sure the quality of the installations are good, for our customers, we do require that the systems must be designed and installed by a licensed contractor. The licensed electrician is usually more recommended when it comes to these kind of stuff. But that includes having a GST number and a valid BC license. And once again, self-installations are not eligible, mainly because safety in these cases. And then recommended to be trained in solar and battery energy storage systems is key. There's no required mandatory trainings at this point, but it might be something we're looking into in the future. So I'd keep an eye out for that. Excellent. So when it comes to the solar and battery systems you're installing, there are a few key eligibility requirements. You can find out more on our website, of course. But the big ones are that it must be new, purchased in Canada, which I guess with the tariffs coming on might be a good thing. And then owned by an eligible customer in a good working order and not installed at another property beforehand. For solar, the nameplate rating is not able to be greater than 100 kilowatts. And then there are a few standards like the CSA and the UL standards for panels, inverters, and batteries. I would check out our terms and conditions to find out which standards apply to which products. Just make sure they're eligible. And then all projects, including inverters, must comply with the interconnection requirements. I have that linked here, so when I send this out, you can check out that document. And then you must submit the valid permits and declarations and invoices relevant to the project when submitting the application. I'll go more into that at a different slide. But the big key item I definitely would recommend is please do not purchase any equipment before receiving technical approval from us. Again, I'll go more into detail on that when that comes into play in a later slide. But yeah, that's the big key one. And also before interconnecting to the grid, you must also get approval. So there's 2 different stages of approval. But of course, I'll go in more detail later. Okay, types of properties that are eligible, or talking about eligibility. So what's eligible is newly constructed buildings. It's a little bit a different process. When you're submitting your application, you'll have to submit it as a draft as the new construction, but the application does support that option. Rental properties are eligible if the property owner applies for the rebate and it's a primarily like someone's living there primary or most of the time or full time, I guess. But and the customer with multiple accounts or buildings at a property are eligible. The rebates are per customer, per count, per system. What's not eligible is the off-grid properties, just because rebates are for BC Hydro customers only. Any suites within a multi-unit building, so like a condo unit, those sadly are not eligible there. You can also see the MURBs offer to see if the building as a whole is eligible. And then separately meter buildings on like a different account on a residential property that is not like a primary resident for someone. So like garages and workshops and such don't qualify. And at this point, other electric service utility areas like Fortis and the City of New West are not eligible. It's just for BC Hydro. And then a big one here is that any mobile or portable installations or even temporary are not eligible. So portable batteries would not qualify for this rebate. Excellent. How am I doing for time here? I think I'll kind of quickly go through this. Couple minutes? Okay, perfect. Excellent. So the self-generation application process is a bit new as we just inserted the rebate portion into the original self-generation application. But these are the key steps we're communicating out to customers. So first is find a licensed contractor. So like many of you in this chat here. And then to submit the application, you'll just apply online through the My Hydro account. Contractors, you are able to start this application as a draft on behalf of the customer. It's honestly probably a little bit better that way, as the first bit there requires a lot of technical information, which it might be handy that you have on hand. And then once you submit that first initial application of what you're planning on doing, it'll go into review, and that's when the self-generation team will review your setup and the configuration just to make sure it's eligible and it meets all the safety requirements. So that's the big thing, and this is when I was talking about do not purchase or install anything until you receive pre-approval from us. Once we do that, you'll get an email just letting you know you've been approved to install your system. Then you can go ahead and install it. After you install it, you'll have to have it inspected. So that's when you'll have to upload the electrical contractor authorization and declaration form, and then the field verification information document. So those are the 2 big ones. Once you have that uploaded, along with the final paid invoice, that's for the rebate portion. Both the self-generation team and the rebate team will get involved there. The self-generation team will look over the safety aspect of things and just make sure it's good for interconnection. Once they give you the thumbs up, they'll email you just like kind of noticing you're able to interconnect to the grid. At that point, you're able to flip the switch and turn the system on. And then when it comes to the rebate team, it's a separate team, and they'll look over the final paid invoice and the system, make sure it meets all eligibility for the rebate program. And then you'll usually get your rebate within 30 to 45 days following the interconnection approval. And then I just have some screenshots. I won't go over too much detail in terms of time, but this is kind of what the application will look like. As you can see, the first question there is, what's your role? Either your contractor or customer, and the questions will be tailored based on that answer. And then if you enter contractor, your information will be automatically generated in there. So, or most of it anyways, so that's helpful. And then you'll see the energy source and generator type. So that page is where you'll see a lot of the technical information that needs to be entered. And then supporting documents. So like the single line diagram and the site plan are required, and you can enter in any notes there, of course. And then if you're the contractor submitting it, you can enter the customer's email and they'll send the draft to them. And then it's up to them to look over it, submit it, and authorize it. So you can start it, but you can't submit it on their behalf. That they'll have to take into their own account by logging into their own MyHydro account. And that's kind of all I have here today. So I have some helpful links here, which you'll see in the slides afterwards. Then we have a couple of videos that really kind of illustrate how the solar battery works and how the application system works that you can forward off to customers too, if that's helpful. Yeah, that's all I have here today.
That's great. Thanks so much, Ashley. And yeah, reminder folks, we will be sharing these slides out, so you'll get a chance to check out those links. All right, so we do have, thank you so much, Margot. Margot with BC Hydro has been in the chat answering most of the questions. So wonderful, folks. Have a look through if you're not keeping your eye on the chat. There's some good information in there. Just one question that remains. There's just a question around whether there'll be some consideration. So this is for Blake and Ashley, some consideration for in the solar PV or the solar panel programs and the EV programs, if there'll be any considerations to include new homes. Builders are seeing folks in, building new homes, not installing an EV charger and waiting 6 months so that they can access the rebate.
Do you want to go first on solar, Ashley?
Yeah, so solar is, you're able to install a solar system in a new construction, so that's no problem at all. It's just a different application process. So you would enter it in as like a draft and you just say new construction. No problem with us. I think, Blake, that might be better suited for you as you have the extra requirement there.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't speak for the province on this. Remember, we administer this program for the province. However, I know the main principle behind that is that the purpose of the rebates are incentivize to help residents kind of bear the financial burden of adding this to their home rather than to incentivize builders. That said, the 6-month line has drawn a lot of contention, and I hope in the future, you know, coming from a BC Hydro perspective, that we can see that changed.
Great, thank you. And then maybe for folks who are watching the recording, I'll share a couple tidbits from the chat that are helpful. So just a reminder that there are solar and battery rebates for multi-unit buildings, small and medium businesses, social housing, and others. So BC Hydro does have those details listed on their website. This presentation, this webinar just focuses on single family home. So that's why Ashley's presentation focused on that. And BC Hydro rebates can be combined with the Greener Homes loan. So yeah, so that is, I guess, the two programs that would be stackable there. All right. So I think that was it. If we missed a question in the chat, please flag it and I'll save it for the end. In the meantime, we're going to pass things over to Ambrose, who's here with FortisBC to talk about FortisBC's dual fuel program and other renovation rebate programs.
Awesome. Okay, thanks everyone for your presentations. So just today I'm calling from Coquitlam, and that's where I currently live and grew up. Sorry, my slides. There we go. Yes, and so yeah, Coquitlam, just some fun facts. So Coquitlam originates from the Halkomelem word Coquitlam, which translates to red fish up the river, which is that's a salmon. Historically, the territory covered from the Coquitlam River and Pitt River watersheds. Another interesting fact is that Coquitlam Lake area has some of the oldest archaeological sites in the Lower Mainland, providing evidence of the first peoples more than 10,000 years ago. And Halkomelem, it's a Coast Salish dialect, and Coast Salish it's a language family like Latin. So just to put into context, you could imagine like Halkomelem is like French, but the language family is like Latin. All right, so today I'm here to talk about the home renovation rebate program, specifically the dual fuel program. I did see some folks had questions about heat pumps. I don't have any slides prepared, but hopefully we have some questions at the end that I can answer. So the home renovation rebate program, it's a whole home approach to energy efficiency upgrades, and it's in existing homes and offers rebates for space heating, water heating, and building envelope. And when we say we take a whole home approach, it's just the impact that, say, you change your HVAC system out, but your home is still leaky. So we want to encourage a holistic approach, like you upgrade your insulation, your envelope, and also your HVAC systems. Everything works together. We work with industry to build capacity and create installation best practices, and this program is offered in partnership with BC Hydro and CleanBC. Just some general eligibility requirements is that you need to have a residential account with FortisBC Natural Gas and FortisBC Electric. If you're in one of the following municipalities, so City of Penticton, City of Grand Forks, Nelson Hydro, or District of Summerland, you'd also be eligible through our programs, our electric programs. And the home, it needs to be a year-round residence and at least 12 months old. What's not eligible is any sort of new additions. Customers need to be upgrading existing spaces, upgrades to garage, workshops, outbuildings, or any existing spaces converted to living spaces. Those aren't eligible. The purpose of this program is that we want to reduce GHG emissions and provide savings. If you're adding additional spaces that need to be heated, that sort of goes against the program, which is why we don't allow any sort of spaces that weren't previously heated or lived in to now be heated in. Applications need to be submitted within 6 months of the invoice, and all installs need to be completed by a licensed contractor with a GST number and valid BC business license, so no DIY jobs. And for some of our programs, you need to be HPCN, which I'll get into a bit later. Home types, so we allow for single family detached. We allow secondary suites in single family detached if it's individually metered. So something like, let's say you had your main home and you had a basement suite. If it's separately metered, you'd be able to claim rebates for both. Duplex, triplex, row homes or townhouses, mobile homes on permanent foundations, and multiplexes. For multiplexes, keep in mind it needs to be individually metered and have its own exterior entrance. So it's not something like, say, an apartment building. It's kind of its own separate housing type. If you had any questions, feel free to ask in the chat, or you can also take a look at our webpage, and we have some more details on what would be a multiplex if you're not sure. So dual fuel systems through our program, it consists of a gas furnace, an electric air source heat pump, and the idea is that they will work sequentially with a integrated control system. Basically, that's a connected thermostat most times. And the idea is that the heat pump will provide the majority of the heating up until a certain set switchover temperature where the furnace will kick in. And this meets the heating needs of the home, and it also enables cooling capabilities for homeowners. Contractor requirements for the insulation, air source heat pump, and dual fuel rebates need to be completed by a home performance contractor network member. So before you get involved with those specific programs, make sure that you are a home performance contractor network member so your customers would be eligible to participate. Going into the incentive amounts, so home renovation rebate program, we provide $10,000 for eligible installs. If you're income qualified, we allow $15,000, as well as the Indigenous Communities Conservation Program. For the Northern BC, we also have a Northern BC top-up that's funded by CleanBC. That's $3,000, and eligible homes need to be located north of and including the District of 100 Mile House. We also provide a contractor incentive on eligible dual fuel installs, so that's $300 when you provide the commissioning sheet. through our mobile app, which I'll get into later, as well as $150 for a connected thermostat. That's through HRR, and $200 through IQP. It's not all connected thermostats. There's an eligible list. You can take a look on our website. Getting into specific dual fuel requirements. So about the customer, you need to be a residential FortisBC natural gas or be a Revelstoke residential customer receiving pipe propane from FortisBC. It needs to be a year-round primary residence, but landlords upgrading their rental properties can apply. They just need to have the current account holder or their tenant sign the utility account holder consent form. You need to be replacing an existing gas furnace that's at least 10 years old. So the addition of an air source heat pump to an existing furnace, it's not eligible. If the customer already has a dual fuel system, they wouldn't be able to apply for this program. Also, warranty replacements and insurance claims are not eligible. Equipment and install requirements. So you need to provide a program-approved heat load calculation and properly select the equipment from the rebate-eligible product list. In terms of eligible heat load calculations, we allow F280 90, F280 12, as well as ACA methodology software. It needs to be installed according to the best practices guide for heat pumps in existing homes, as well as the furnace installation for existing homes. And you must also, the system must also undergo commissioning to ensure that the system is installed and operating according to best practices. Earlier, I mentioned switchover temperatures. So we do have certain requirements set. If you're in the Lower Mainland and Vancouver region, you need to set the switchover temperature, so from the heat pump to the furnace, to 5 degrees or lower. And for the southern interior and northern BC, it needs to be 2 degrees or lower. So the app was launched by FortisBC. We worked with DSM Ally Canada, and this app basically it's a commissioning app. So some of you who maybe participated in the furnace or boiler programs in the past know that we had a commissioning sheet that you would fill out and leave with the customers. The app was designed to sort of autofill some of the data, as well as provide a PDF that gets sent to both you and the customer. And we're also offering a $300 incentive for eligible install for contractors who do sign the terms and conditions. These slides are going to be shared out, so all these links that you see here, you can click. Just make sure you register for the app and sign the terms, and you'd be eligible to receive a quarterly incentive. So just to recap the customer journey. So, customer would engage a gas licensed contractor who's a member of HPCN. It would go into the installation phase where the contractor would conduct a heat load calculation and select the appropriate equipment. After you complete the install, you need to commission the system and provide the customer with the heat load calculation, copy of the paid invoice, and the commissioning sheet. FortisBC will review and approve the application. It could take up to 90 days. We're usually less than 60. And a rebate will get mailed to the customer within 4 to 6 weeks. All right, almost just one more slide here. This is a separate program from the home renovation rebate program. So this is a FortisBC program. And it's an appliance maintenance program for encouraging customers to service their gas appliances. So the program eligibility is June 1st to June 30th, 2025. Applications need to be submitted within 60 days. In terms of the required service scope, so it's not just visual inspections. We'd encourage you to review the Technical Safety BC Complete Checklist, as that's what we look for on the invoices when customers apply. That some of the checklist was reviewed and at least on the description on the scope of work. So we're offering $50 for furnace boilers. For fireplaces, we're giving up to 2, so that's 50 total, and a tankless water heater, $50 as well. Finally, for customers to apply, we offer 2 pathways. They can apply either online or they can call over the phone. We do have language translation services as well. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to qualityinstalls@fortisbc.com. For general inquiries and where to direct your customers, it would be homereno@fortisbc.com. And that's it for me. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ambrose. I was hoping that you could clarify again. I know it was in your presentation, just that around the set points, we hear contractors asking this question a lot. I know that they're minimum set points. Yeah, just kind of going back, or sorry, maximum set points. I'm going to add to the confusion, but just going back to those set point requirements
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
dual fuel system.
Yeah, so in terms of the set points, those are the maximum, so you can't go above, but you can definitely go below. And a lot of customers do want their heat pumps to heat for a longer period, and that's perfectly fine. We just don't want it to go above where the furnace kicks in too early. And another thing that's important, I think, for contractors is the customer education piece. Like, just make sure you speak to your customers and let them know about the set point. Because this program is targeting customers with existing gas furnaces, something that we often see is that customers might think, oh, my system's not working, my furnace isn't kicking in. They don't understand the set point and how heat pumps heat. If you've had a furnace, it is definitely a higher blast of heat. So it heats at higher temperatures. So they might expect that for the heat pump. They might put their hand at their air return and feel like, oh, it's cold or something like that, not realizing that it actually, if they look at their thermostat, it's hit the temperature, and this is how it works. So I think just making sure you let your customers know, just to reduce callbacks, hey, this is how the system works. It's not broken.
Yeah, wonderful. Really important piece. Awesome. And I know too, with that maximum set points too, it reduces the amount of people who are installing the heat pump just for the cooling and then fully running their furnace.
Exactly.
Great, thank you. And then a clarification too of whether or not the Fortis rebates could be combined with the Greener Homes loan program.
Yes, they would be. So it's part of the home renovation rebate program. So it's confusing, but Hydro, CleanBC, and Fortis, we offer this one program as a partnership program. So the requirements are generally aligned. So if you're doing an insulation or a window rebate, for example, or a heat pump, and you're not sure where to apply, it would depend on what your primary space heating system is. So that's 50% or more of your home, what system it's heated by, and who your electricity provider is. So if you're heated by a gas furnace and it heats the majority of your home and you live in Vancouver, FortisBC would be your primary heat. If you're primarily heated by an air source heat pump in Coquitlam, BC Hydro would be who you'd go for insulation and window rebates.
Great, thank you. And I know the resource that Grant shared on his slide, the CleanBC Energy Coach, is someone that you can engage if you have questions about which program you should be applying to as well. Great. Folks, if you have any other questions for Ambrose, go ahead and field them or put them in the chat. I'm just going to go back to a question if we still have Grant here with us today, because I do hear this question a lot from contractors. There you are, hi Grant. Just around whether or not, and Meredith, I hope you're still on the call too, because this was your question, whether there's any consideration being given to requiring an EnerGuide evaluation as part of the provincial CleanBC program. And if not, why not?
Yeah, tough question. And unfortunately, at this point, no, we're not going to be supplying a rebate for energy advisors or energy assessments. The reason why not is layered, and there's a number of reasons, and I don't really want to get into it too much here, but the biggest reason is it was removed because of the Greener Homes program. And we're still waiting to see what this new Greener Homes Program 2.0 coming out will be, because what we found with that program when it came into our market is everyone's billing to the homeowner went up by that amount. And it was kind of like the rebate was not really making an impact as far as it was just increasing the overall dollar value. I will also say that heat load calculations are coming into these programs. You've probably seen a bit of the BC Hydro and Fortis announcement of the new program offers. And we will be coming forth with that with the energy savings program too, where heat load calculations will be required for heat pump installations throughout the province. And we are going to likely be working with energy advisors to support that work. So it might not be a push towards whole home energy advisor work, but definitely to help out that F280 heat load calculation to achieve those requirements, and even pushing contractors to energy advisors to kind of work together to get those completed for participants.
Great, thank you. And if you do, I had mentioned the Retrofit Assist program at the beginning. It's a program run by Community Energy Association in Roslyn, East Kootenay, Whistler, Squamish, and Kamloops. We offer a $99 pre and post EnerGuide evaluation because it is a really important part of that retrofit process. So yeah, make sure to check that out. I'll have a link. There's a link at the very top of the chat. I'll also have a link in the follow-up email. And some excitement for F280s in the chat, so great. Okay. I didn't see any other questions come through for Ambrose. I believe we answered all of the questions that were in the chat. If I missed one, feel free to email me directly and I'll do my best to follow up with the appropriate person and get back to you. And we'll give you guys 6 more minutes back to your day. Thanks so much, Ambrose, Blake, Margot, for your participation in the chat, Grant, and I know that Ashley had to sign off, but those were great presentations and I know a lot of information to get through a short period of time. With that, I hope everyone has a great day.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thanks
everyone.
everybody. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.